Hey, it's 11:40 The Bet. Adrian Hernandez here on air, on demand via the Audacy app and on YouTube. By the way, that Audacy app or wherever you get your podcasts. And speaking of which, joining us for the first time on this video format is friend of the station, and I say it every time he comes on. If you live in Las Vegas, you need to follow this gentleman. Joining us is Mick Akers, of course, from the Las Vegas Review Journal. Mick, I was on daddy duty this weekend. So thank you. I was living through your Twitter and all the pictures and everything that you posted. Formula One made their introduction to Las Vegas. The Fan Fest tickets went on sale. Hotel prices are through the roof. What the hell is going on, and what happened this weekend?
Yeah, it was kind of hey, here's a F1. Here's what to expect next year when the actual race is here. So given Vegas its first taste of the action. They had three drivers going up and down the strip, doing burnouts, donuts all over the place. I think some of those skid marks are still on the strip right now. So, they left a lasting reminder there. Some big stars, Lewis Hamilton, the biggest one that was out there. Sergio Perez was also, got a lot of crowd cheers as well. They said about 43,000 people actually turned out and lined the strip to watch that, between Caesar's Palace and then Paris. Not a long stretch, and that's a lot of people that, show up there. So obviously shows, the interest is there. Ticket sales kicked off, the public sales on Saturday night for anyone to buy. I think they sold out pretty quickly. There's only those $10,000 ones left at the hospitality area. The $500 one, yeah, the $500 ones sold out right away. There's some $2,000 ones by the MSG Sphere, where that's going to be one of the grandstand areas. Those sold out. A few of the ones in the Harmon area, which is by the paddock area, which was also presented on Saturday as well. They showed off some of the renderings and such. All in together, but with the land, and then building this building right there on Koval and Harmon. That's going to be about a $500 million investment from Liberty Media, which owns F1. Yeah, so they're showing, hey, we're committed. They throw this big party. They shut the strip down for a few hours. They show off this $500 million investment to Las Vegas. So they have a 3-year contract, but everyone involved saying we want to make this a permanent race and kind of lead showcase one for F1's season every year.
And speaking of money, I guess we'll start here because this is the first thing that started bubbling up is people screenshotting some of the hotel packages because MGM finally opened up the calendar for people to be able to book for next Thanksgiving in 2023. For you and everything that you've seen and people sending you stuff, like you already brought up a $10,000 ticket just to see the race. What was like the most expensive hotel package that you saw from some of the hotels throughout the strip?
Well, I was just doing the cheapest ones available for each property, and so, but like, hey, here's where you can start at, right? So, some of them started at $700 a night, but I just did a 4-day weekend thing, like the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Obviously, people are gonna stay that long basically for that race, and some of those packages, just the cheapest ones, were going up, towards $6,000 for those 4 days, 3 nights. So. And that's the cheapest, I tell you. So, there's going to be ones that are way, way more expensive. They're going to be putting together some hotel/race packages through MGM. Those are going to be, up to $100,000 for that weekend. So, obviously this whole weekend is just all about, generating big cash.
And I'm sorry because I'm kind of going all over the place, but just trying to wrap my mind around this because obviously F1's trying to make their footprint here in the US. This year was the first time they did the Miami race, which was similar with them building a lot of stuff around Dolphin Stadium. They were just in Austin a few weeks ago. In comparison to other events and things that Las Vegas has hosted, like to me, and what I'm trying to ask you is this going to be in terms of spectacle and just like the economic impact for people that live here and they're getting to work around things because the race is here? Is this going to be similar to the NFL draft?
Yeah, I would say actually it's going to be better than that. It's going to generate a lot more money than that did. They're saying $1 billion weekend, so you don't get too many of those.
With a B, just to make sure.
Yeah, with the B. So they're saying that, and then Super Bowl is supposed to be around that too, because generally for Super Bowl weekend, without hosting it, they bring about $500 million impact just because people come to Vegas to watch the, on sports books and all that stuff. But on top of that is going to be adding, the Super Bowl next year for us, so or in 2024. So that's going to also be around $1 billion weekend. But Steve Hill with the LBCBA said, don't forget though, this is at least 3 times we're going to be getting this $1 billion weekend, but obviously they want to go further. So this is, by far going to be, the largest revenue generator, I think, for the next 3 years.
And obviously with the Fan Fest, a lot of the big wigs from Las Vegas, from the governor, all these organizations and stuff, but also the big wigs for F1 were here, CEOs, CFOs, the drivers themselves, like you were saying, Lewis Hamilton and that. In your conversations, what was the excitement level in terms of F1 and any tidbits on things or plans that they have that people might be like, whoa, that sounds actually pretty awesome?
Yeah, I got this talk with Stefano Domenicali with F1 on Friday. I went over to one of the suites at Caesars and chatted him up. He's really excited about the prospects of Vegas. Obviously, F1 weekends always feature other events as well. It's not just the race, and Las Vegas has everything you want under the sun. You got the food, you got the shopping, you got the shows, you got the nightclubs. So they got everything under control here. So just having that much, that many options, this many hotel rooms, and just the space, what the strip brings, obviously is just something that has everyone involved really excited. Even the drivers. I spoke with George Russell. He was like, "Hey, I'm glad I got into F1 at this time because adding this race is just going to add another, not just for the fans but for the drivers themselves, getting to race up and down the strip. That's going to be pretty special moment for them, and they're looking forward to it as well."
And one thing I do want to ask you is about the paddock that they're building. Like you said, $500 million just in the facility alone. So far, it's just a 3-year deal, but obviously, you don't invest all this money and everything for one weekend. They want this to be a staple for the F1 circuit. Did F1 say anything in terms of what is that building going to be used for outside of race weekends? Like, because in my head, I'm like, okay, they might build like how they have the Avengers like Hall of Fame on the strip where you can go and see stuff. Like, I'm assuming to get people to be in there and spend money and to check it out. Did they say anything on what that building's going to be used outside of race weekends?
Yeah, they didn't have any exact, kind of examples or anything like that, but they said, yes, we're going to use it year round. I think more like F1 events are going to have like weekend getaways or kind of, keep the interest in F1 in the US going with events there. That's also going to be like where the VVIP section is for the race. So like super high end inside clubs. They mentioned one's going to be like a speakeasy 20s Gatsby vibe, I guess it was. So, they're going to have, some high end stuff in there as well. So they're going to be able to host an array of events. Obviously, it's going to be right down the strip. It's going to be 4 stories, 300,000 square feet, rooftop terrace. So, it's going to have, everything you need to host, massive events, and F1's looking forward to using that year round.
All this information that you're telling me, Mick, is like blowing my mind. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. This is going to be a spectacle, and of course, there's other things happening around Las Vegas that we'll get to here in a second. But so one of the latest things too that was announced, Heineken, title sponsor for the race. So the race is now going to be called the Formula One Heineken Silver Las Vegas Grand Prix. You also got to see the 3D model of the racetrack and everything. Just curious, just real quick, is there anything you would have changed in terms of the path, or is it going to show off everything of the strip that people need to see?
No, I think they have, the stretch of the strip that's the most scenic. I think right there, you Bellagio Fountains, you get, Cosmo, you get, for the time being, Mirage is going to be there. Maybe not. We'll see what happens by 2023. Yeah. You got Caesars, obviously, is one of their main sponsors as well. Iconic. They had a race there in the 80s, so it kind of brings in the past to the present. Just having that stretch there and up and down the strip. It's a long straightway, so that's going to be a high-speed area as well. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, that model is pretty awesome. It was 3D printed. I think they said it was made out of marble, so it's pretty crazy. So I'm not sure where that's going to end up. I'm assuming maybe at one of these resorts I partner with, or maybe at the airport, because they used to have a model in the Resorts World there before it opened. But it definitely has to be somewhere on display because people, public has to check that thing out.
And then one thing I did want to touch base with you on outside of F1 is the latest on MLS. Last I heard, it is between San Diego and Las Vegas. Are there potential areas where they're thinking about building a stadium if the team does come here? And just what's the latest overall?
Yeah, so MLS had a press conference last week with their commissioner, and it was brought up what's the latest on Vegas. So at first, in January, they went into a negotiation agreement with Wes Edens and his partner. Wes Edens also is a co-owner of the Milwaukee Bucks. He's tied in with the Brightline West train project as well, that's looking to build between here and Southern California. And they've been working this thing out for the last year. I haven't heard much until last week. And then they said, hey, we're still talking to them. I was told about the site a few months ago, and they confirmed it. It's Las Vegas Boulevard between Warm Springs and Blue Diamond Road, where also they're planning to put the Bright Lane Rail Station that Edens is going to own as well, and that MBA/hotel project that Mark Verdain's on with Oakview Group. So, there's a 300 some acres of land right there. Obviously, if all three of these get built, it's going to be one of the premier destinations in the city. But I think having that NBA project announced maybe put a little wrench in their plans about putting it there. So I think maybe that's what's delaying it, and they might be trying to find somewhere else. But I haven't heard anything confirmed on that. But it seems like I would assume it would move quicker than it has so far. So we have San Diego coming in out of nowhere. We had a billionaire backer come through and say, "Hey, I want to bring a team here." They got that new Snapdragon Stadium where the Aztecs play right now for college, but it's also made for soccer. So it's it's brand new. It's ready built. So they have a leg up on Vegas on that part. So if they wanted to get that team going next year, they're good to go. But Garber told me before that they just whatever there's a 30th franchise wouldn't start playing in 2023. So it doesn't have to be hey we have this thing built, we can start next year. So that can also play in Vegas's favor.
Mick Akers joining us here on 1140 The Bet from the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Be sure to follow him at Mick Akers on Twitter. Before we get out of here, of course, in a week in which it was announced that the Raiders are like the most expensive if you add up ticket, parking, hot dogs, cups, beers, and everything, they lose to the Jaguars, a team that lost 5 games in a row before the Jags won and beat us. So real quick, as I get a political call that I can't wait that are going to be done after tomorrow, Josh McDaniels, would you fire him if they lose to the Colts next weekend?
I wouldn't do that because, it's his first year in season again. You don't want to have this uncertainty they already had last year with some of the coaching stuff. And then you had some of the issues with the front office, and you had the rug situation. So, that was like one season full of issues, and just doing that again, I don't think would be a good idea. But, it's frustrating that everyone, especially the fans, you see them, I get tons of messages and emails from them just like saying, fire McDaniels. But I'm not on that team. I'm saying, hey, see how the rest of this season plays out, and then call it from there. But I guess they're getting used to his new system and such, and it seems like it's taking time, and they move away from what's working. It seems like he said today that I know the passing was working, but hey, we wanted to try to get the run in because you can't always rely on the just passing. Could sometimes it's just not going to work out. But I guess if you don't try it, you wouldn't know. So, but yeah, so I wouldn't fire him just yet. Let this season play out and see what happens after.
A man of patience and great content and insight as always. Mick Akers, thank you so much for joining us and giving us all the details on F1.
All right, thanks for having me.